Hey guys, welcome back to our channel Glitched Velocity. I'm your host Wazahat, and just like previous video, this video is also going to be a demonstration video for one of my shader update, and the shader is going to be the same shader that I have shown to you in previous video. In previous video, the shader version was 4.0, and in this video it is going to be version 4.1. This is the custom light shader for CopperCube 3D game engine, and if you are interested, then you can purchase the shader from 𝙎𝙪𝙧𝙘𝙝 page. I will provide the link in the description down below. I'm not going to get into the detail and the depth on how the shader works and what are the shader properties, because I have already shown you those in the previous video. So if you want, you can watch the previous video. In this particular video, I'm going to focus more on the changes that has been made to this version 4.1. So the major changes are, now it supports up to 10 point lights, and there is a toggle to turn switch between emission maps and the ambient occlusion maps, and there are some variables that you can use to change the properties during runtime. There are variables for material specific properties like node name dot mat index dot emissive strength, and for normal strength and for normal depth. Node name is going to be the name of the scene node that you are going to change or you are going to affect by the shader, and then the mat index is going to be the material index. If your object has multiple material, then you can specify the material index that you want to change the emissive strength of, or normal strength or normal depth. Then you have global properties like custom light dot flashlight intensity to change the intensity of the flashlight. Then custom light dot defect intensity, it is also a global property, so it will affect all the objects and all the materials. So you can change these values as well. And there is a special, JavaScript command, which is ccb update _JIC custom light data. And you need to execute this command every time you made changes or update material specific data or global data in your game or in your shader. So without further ado, let's jump right into the topic. So as you can see, I have this file on my desktop, which is custom light shader version 4.1 demo.ccb, and this is the same demo that you are going to get when you purchase the shader action and download the version 4.1. So let me just maximize it, and there is this overlay which I am going to make invisible so that we can see the scene. So here we have the scene with some Mixamo animated models, and this daemon model which I have downloaded from Sketchfab. They all are free and they need attribution. So you will see the attribution link in the 𝙎𝙪𝙧𝙘𝙝 page. And as you can see, we have some particles here. We have some lights. Actually, we have about 9 lights, but it supports 10 lights. So we can just simply clone one of them during runtime, or let me just create one more light. So we now have 10 lights in our scene. And this daemon model uses emission maps, and all of them are just using 4K textures except this daemon. So this is going to be 2K textures, and animated meshes are going to use 4K textures. So let me just go to view, show your edit and relate properties, just to show you that they all are using what properties they are using before testing the application. So if I go to material step for this ninja model, then you will notice that it uses these textures, and these textures are 4096 by 4096, which is 4K texture. So if you select the normal map, it is again 4K texture, and if you select the specular highlights, it is again 4K texture. And the same goes for all the 3 models. They all are 4K textures, and some of them are just 2K textures. I don't know. So some of them are 2K textures and some of them are 4K textures. So most of them are just 4K textures, and yep, the daemon model is 2K textures. So the 4th texture slot is emission map for this daemon model, and there is a property which is fog enable, and this property decides whether the object is going to use the emission map or the ambient occlusion map. So if you have fog enabled, then it is going to use emission map, and if you have this option disabled, then it is going to use ambient occlusion map for this fourth texture slot. So right now the model is set up for using emission map. We have provided the emission map in fourth texture slot for both the materials, because this model has two materials. We have fog enabled for both the materials, and we have supplied emission map for both the materials. And then let's just go to the shader action. So we have our shader action here, which is custom light shader version 4.1. We have supplied radius as 5000, and then we have another option here, which is update rate, and this update rate decides the performance of your game. So it updates the light data by skipping some frames. So the higher the number you put here, the more performance you will get, but there will be delay or in the update of light data. So if you want, you can set it to 0, but it is better to use something like 5 or maybe 10. Then we have normal strength, which I am not using. Then we have normal depth. Again, it is going to be 0 so that we have proper depth. Then we have all the properties which were in the previous version. Then we have this extra property, which is CC normals, and this decides if you are going to use the inbuilt normals mapping system, or you are going to use the normal mapping that is being used by the animated meshes. So, and I'm going to show you why this option is here in a moment, because I have another demo file for that to showcase this option. And all the options have been discussed in the previous video, so if you want to know about them, then you can use or watch the previous video. There is one more thing that I want to show you, is that for the parameter 2 is going to be used for specular strength or specular gloss. You can know for the in the previous version, the parameter 1 was using for the specular strength, but now it is parameter 2 which is going to be used as specular strength for the materials. So that's one more thing. And when you import or create a new material, then the fog enable option is by default disabled, so it is going to use ambient occlusion map. So that's all I think, and this has been highly optimized, and I'm gonna show you more things that you can see the overlays over here. We have press F to toggle spotlight on and off, and then we have press X to change spotlight intensity to 1000. Then we have press Z to change ambient color to green, and they both are, and they are to change the properties during runtime. So this will change the ambient color to green during the runtime of the game. This will change the flashlight intensity during runtime of the game with the help of variables. So I'm going to show you that in a moment. So let's just publish the application. And it is going to take some time to publish the application because of the recording software. And it is also going to load in a moment, because it is going to apply the shader to all the objects in the scene. So it is going to take a little bit more time when loading the scene. So bear with me. And that is why I hate recording videos with high polygon models and high projects that are just heavier, because they take lot of time in publishing when the recording software is running. So yeah, the shader, or sorry, the application has been published and it is going to load in a moment. So we have to wait a bit more, and it is loaded. So as you can see, we have our scene here, and everything looks pretty good. So the lighting works. You can see how many lights are there. You can see the green light, you can see the blue light, you can see red and yellow and blue there, and again green, and yeah, there is some sort of red light here, pink or something like that. And you can see this blinking, and this is because of the update rate and the motion of the light. You can see the light blinking here as well. That's because the lights are revolving or rotating in a circle. So whenever the light gets closer to the object, it is going to lit the object, and whenever it is going away from the object gets darker. So it simulates a flashing or blinking effect. And if I go further away, then you will notice that everything is going dark, but the horns and the eyes of this demon is appearing white, and that's because of the emissive texture. So this object, the demon face here, uses emissive texture which lit the eyes and the edges of the thorns, and we are going to change that in a bit. And if I press F, then we have the spotlight in our demo scene, and if I press F again, it will toggle off the spotlight. So you can see it is toggling off and on the spotlight. And if I press Z, then the ambient color is going to be green. So let's just press Z, and you can see everything has a tint of green to them because the ambient color has been changed to green. It is not that much noticeable, but yeah, the ambient is now green, and you may say that it is being green because of the green lights in the scene, but no, it is the ambient color which is green. And then just turn on the light, and if I press X, then the spotlight intensity will be decreased to 1000 because the behavior is already using 5000, or sorry, the shader is already using 5000 as the flashlight intensity. So if I press X, then it is going to dim down the flashlight, and let's see. So yeah, the flashlight has been dimmed and its intensity has been decreased by 4000. So now it is having 1000 intensity. And if I press F, then it will be turned off. And if I press F again, then it will be turned on with the intensity of 1000. And that's pretty much it about the shader. And you can see we have 10 lights rendering at the same time on the objects. So that's pretty much it. And now let's come to the variables and updating of materials during runtime. So if I go to the new 3D scene here, and you will see that I have some behaviors attached, which is when a key is pressed, do something, and on pressing Z, I am executing an JavaScript action which grabs the root scene node and change its ambient light color to green. 0 for the red channel, 1 for the green channel, and 0 for the blue channel, which means the ambient color is going to be green. And then I'm using this command ccb update _jic custom light data, and it is necessary to use this command whenever you make any changes to the light data or the material specific properties, and you want them to be updated in the shader as well. So for example, if you are changing the ambient light color of the root scene node, then you need to call this function so that it will be updated in the shader as well. So if you want to change the emissive color for the flashlight for any object, because emissive is used for the flashlight color, and if you want to change the ambient color from here, then you need to make sure that you are calling that function. And whenever you change the variable, it is also need to use that function. So if I go to our another behavior for the key press, which is X, then you will notice that I am simply setting a variable for the global flashlight intensity, which is 1000. You can increase it to something else like 10,000, which will, let's just make it 10,000. And then we have some material specific variables as well. So we have node name, matte index, emissive strength, and node name, matte index, normal strength. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the normal map strength for this animated ninja model, I think. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the name of this animated mesh 1 to ninja. And then I'm going to simply go to my new 3D scene and add a new behavior triggered by event when a key is pressed, do something, and I'm going to change the key to G so that we can easily press and check. And then we are going to set the variable And then simply, we know that first we have to type the node name, which is Ninja. Then we have to type the material index that we want to affect, which is going to be 0, because 0 is the first material, or you can increase it to 1, 2, 3, something like that if you have multiple materials for your object in the scene. And then we are going to update the normal strength. So I'm gonna use normal strength, and then we are going to change it to something like 50 so that it will change drastically and we will be able to see the changes, or the changes are visible and can easily be distinguished or differentiated. Sorry if my words are, if I'm talking gibberish, because I don't have to repeat this in every video of mine. You know that English is not my native language, so you have to bear with that. So, and then as this is a material specific property, and as I said, whenever we want to update a property or whenever we want to update our variable, there are some exceptions for the global variables, but for material specific variable, we need to call the JavaScript light update data function. So we are going to execute JavaScript action here, special execute JavaScript, and we are going to type CCB update underscore JIC and then light data, custom light data, or maybe it is light data, I don't remember. We have to check it again. So let me just go to this, and yeah, it is CCB update JIC custom light data. So, and I think we are done. You need to make sure that you are having this execute JavaScript with the CCB update JIC custom light data command right below your variable whenever you are updating the shader action. So you need to make sure that it runs after the variable has been set or after the variable has been changed. So if you have this up here, then it is not going to work. You need to make sure that it is the last one in your action whenever you are changing the variable or the properties. And if I hit OK and if I test the application now, it is again going to take a little bit time to publish the application because of the recording software, and it's quite frustrating to wait for that much time. And I might entertain you with some jokes, but I know that I'm not good in jokings or cracking jokes. I'm not funny at all, so I'm just a boring guy, so you have to bear with that. And we have to wait until this publish. And this shader is highly optimized. So this version is highly optimized, and that is why it supports up to 10 lights and it won't affect the performance. And let me tell you something. The shader has been loaded, and I'm going to tell you something in a moment because I have to show you something first. So what we had done is we have created a normal strength variable with 50 value, and we are going to see that on our Ninja mesh here. So if I press G, then the normal strength for this Ninja model should change. So let's just check. If I press G, and then you will notice how the normal maps has been changed on this Ninja model and how weird it is appearing. It appears like, oh, it has some noise on this mask and the cloths, and it is pretty weird. Look, when the spotlight is on, it looks really, really bad, as if it is dipped in some sort of I don't know, ink or what. It looks really bad. But yeah, the function works. It shows that you can change the properties during runtime. For the flashlight intensity, we can press X and it will be 10,000. You can see how bright the flashlight is on the ground now. And previously in the starting of the scene or the demo, when we published it last time, it is changing the intensity to 1000, and now it is changing the intensity to 10,000. And just like that, we can change the ambient occlusion map to, we can change the emissive map to ambient occlusion maps. I might get confused because they both use the same texture slot. So we have to first disable the fog enable option here for both the materials. And let me check if I have, nope, I don't have any ambient occlusion map texture here. So I'm gonna add it, and it is in my desk folder. Default material AO, which is for ambient occlusion, and then I'm gonna apply it on the second material and on the first material as well. So now if I test the application, we again have to wait a bit. So much waiting time. We have to wait. I don't know what to speak while waiting. Otherwise, I will be talking stuff, blah blah blah, like that. So just wait and wait and wait. I know I'm bad in singing and all that stuff, but I have to do something to entertain you while you are waiting. So please run faster. And that's because of my graphic card. I am using a very old graphic card, which is GTX 750 Ti, and I really want to upgrade my graphic card, but I am very tight on budgets. I have to pay my bills and all those stuff. And yep. So as you can see, it now uses ambient occlusion maps, because the eyes are not glowing or it is not white. But you will also notice that we have some weird issue here, and this is, you can see, it is, the lightning is glitching this, and you might be wondering why this is happening. And let me tell you why this is happening. Because we have the white ambient color here, and we have the white ambient color. Because we have this update rate of 5 here, and we want to change it to something like 0, because the light is getting updated by skipping 5 frames. So sometimes it might appear there are some artifacts on your objects, so you need to decrease the update rate of the shader action, and again we have to wait a bit. Oh, that's a problem. Why we have to wait? Silence. Nobody loves silence. You can skip this video until, you know, the application publish. It is making the video longer. All right, it is published, and wait for it to load. And here we go. All right, now it is not showing any, you know, it is not showing any defects on the model. So, and sorry for that weird noises and voices that I was making. I'm trying to be funny, and, you know, I'm trying to make these videos more entertaining, but I know that I suck in entertaining you guys. But those artifacts has been now gone. So you can change the update rate of the shader if you are seeing those artifacts or something like that. And as I said, there is no emission maps, so we are not able to see the eyes and thorns now. But if I go here and also I don't have to mention it again that this model is downloaded from Sketchfab, and it is very high polygon model. So if I go to the scene matrix, then you will notice that we have 14,000, or it is 1,42,255 polygons. So 1.42K, I think. And yeah, it's pretty decent amount of polygons for this model. And now let's just show you the last option of this shader action, which is use CC normals, and why this option exists in this shader action. And this is to sort a problem or issue with the inbuilt normal mapping of CopperCube 3D game engine. And let me show you why. So let me just first check if I am not skipping anything. So we have this update rate option done. We have CC normals, which I'm going to show you in a moment, done. And then we have some variables like node name, material index, emissive strength, normal depth, and flashlight intensity and defect intensity. Sorry. So they are also done. Then we have this option parameter 2, which is now used as specular strength for the specular highlights, while the previous version was using parameter 1. So you need to make sure that you are not using parameter 1 for the specular highlights. It is now parameter 2 in the version 4.1, because parameter 1 is used by this transparent alpha channel reference, which is used for, you know, plants and trees. So this is used as like this. It will have 0.5 value for leaves and grass and all those stuff. So it has been used by the material number 26 and transparent alpha ch reference. So that is why the parameter 2 is used for specular strength. So whenever you want to change material specific specular strength, you need to make sure that you are changing the parameter 2, not the parameter 1. And fog enable for toggling emission and ambient occlusion map, done. And let's just close this demo and just open this 𝘎𝑚𝑤𝑎𝑙𝑎𝑟𝑡.ccb file to showcase the last option. So as you can see, we have this this 3D model. It is really high polygon 3D model. So if you go to scene matrix, then you will notice it has 4,62,564, which is much higher than the previous demo. So let me just apply some textures to it so that you can see the model. And I have these textures, and let me just open it. So I have 4K textures as well. I have 512 by 512 textures as well. So I'm going to apply the smaller ones, or maybe the 4K one. So you can see we have this lion wall art. You can say, let me just move it here, and I'm going to show you something that if we go to irradiate and relate properties, materials tab, you will notice that it has 5 materials. And if we go here, and then if I change to normal mapped, then you will notice it completely breaks the model, and this is not what we want in our shader. So that is why the CC normals option is there in the shader action. So let me just create the action here, custom light shader, and that is why we have this option CC normals. You need to make sure that it is unchecked, and it will use the new normal mapping technique, and it will avoid using the normal maps data sent by the internal of CopperCube. So internally CopperCube will send this same data that is used for normal mapping by the engine itself. And if you have that option unchecked, CC normals option unchecked, then it will be going to use new technique or the new normal data. So let me just quickly undo the changes and then attach the action to the behavior when a key is pressed. And I'm gonna attach the custom light shader 4.1 and increase it by this, and we have normal strength of 1. Leave it and then simply change the CC normals, uncheck it, and then apply the normal maps for the textures. And it is gonna take some time. It is hard to apply the normal maps and all the maps. I'm not going to apply the ambient occlusion map and specular maps because it will take some more time while applying. So I have to show you the normal mapping only. And that's what we need. So let's just simply start the application by publishing it. And you will see that it will become black when I press T. And that's because we don't have any light in our scene. So in order to make this object lit, we need to attach a light. So we have this light, and I'm gonna increase the radius of the light to something like 100 and move it a bit closer. And let's just test the application now. And if I press T, and you can see we have this object with normal mapping working. And let me just decrease the radius so that we can see much more better lighting. So yeah, and now just to show you that normal mapping is working, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna increase the intensity or the normal strength. So go back to our shader action, and right now it is 1, and I'm gonna increase it to 50 so that it will change drastically and we will be able to notice it. So if I press T now, and you can see how the object has been affected by the normal maps. So yeah, so the normal maps is working perfectly on this model, but this will become a completely mess if we use the internal normal mapping. So if you go to normal map, it will mess up the model totally. And this generally happens with the high polygon models. It won't happen with if you use low poly models. But if this happens, then you can always uncheck the CC normals and use the new technique for the normal mapping instead of CopperCube internal normal mapping system. So I think this is all for today's video. We have covered all the topics, and these are the changes that has been introduced in the version 4.1. And the major changes were already discussed in the previous video, which is auto grabbing of the light data and auto applying of the materials and all those stuff. And I want to show you some more things about this shader action, is that it overrides or overcomes the limitations of the CopperCube game engine itself. And some of those limitations are that it works with the fog, while normal maps have been applied to the objects. It will still be affected by the fog, and normal maps will be able to have transparency. And there are many things that you can do with this lighting stuff, and I'm not gonna get into the detail. And the price of the shader action has slightly increased to $30. So if you want to purchase the new version, you can purchase it by paying $30. And if you want to use the previous version, you can still get them for $20. And for those who already own the shader, you can contact me on Discord and we will sort this out, or we will figure a way out. Either you can pay the difference amount, or we will see what we can do. And this is to prevent scamming or misusing the previously generated download keys, because there are some people who are using those download keys and they have been misusing it, because previously I haven't created some download keys that going to be claimable, so they have been shared to many people. So yeah, so in order to prevent the misuse of this shader, I have to make this step so that everybody can have this and it won't hurt my pockets as well. So yep, that's it. And there are some bug fixes as well in this update. So like previously, loading overlay was having some bug, and when you don't specify a loading overlay folder, then it is going to break the shader, or it will be hiding some unwanted nodes. And there was some transparency bug which has been fixed. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you want, you can watch the previous videos on the 𝙎𝙪𝙧𝙘𝙪 page itself, or you can watch the previous video on my YouTube channel. I will also provide the link in the description down below for all the shader actions and for all the videos that has been related to this shader action. And if you want, you can purchase CopperCube Pro Studio license with my affiliated links, which will give me some commissions. So this is also a way to support my work. So, and if you can also use my code GLITCHEDVELO to get additional 10% off on your CopperCube Pro or Studio version purchase. So yeah, that's all for today's videos. I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully in the next video I will be doing some live streaming, and I will be teaching or guiding you how to use JavaScript with CopperCube game engine. So the next video is going probably be with the JavaScript tutorials for CopperCube game engine. So till then, bye bye, hasta la vista, peace out, take care.